Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in there? Or searched for your keys only to find them in the fridge? Yeah, you're not alone. The truth is, little slip-ups like these aren't just about getting older. They're often signs that something deeper is going on up here. Here's the part nobody likes to say out loud. After age 65, your brain actually starts to shrink. Not a little, a lot. Certain parts, like the hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and learning, begin to lose volume. But here's the good news. It's not automatic. It's not just aging. In many cases, it's caused by what you do every single day. And if you're doing any of these four things regularly, you might be speeding up that shrinkage without even realizing it. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 4 daily habits that are hurting your brain and what you should do instead. No scare tactics, just straight talk, and practical changes you can make right now to keep your mind strong, alert, and sharp well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Let's get into it. The first one is sneaky. You might think it's harmless, but it's destroying your brain health every time you do it, and most people do it daily. You sit too much. That's right, sitting for long periods, on the couch, at the kitchen table, in the car, without getting up and moving around is one of the worst things you can do for your brain. And no, this isn't about exercise. This is about circulation. When you sit still for too long, blood flow slows down. Oxygen to the brain decreases. And that means fewer nutrients get to the cells that help you think, remember, and stay mentally alert. But it gets worse. Studies have shown that people who sit too much actually have thinner brain structures in the areas tied to memory. That's literal brain shrinkage. Now, don't panic. You don't have to run a marathon. Just stand up every 30 minutes. Walk around the room. Stretch your arms. March in place while watching TV. It's the small movements that keep the blood flowing and the brain glowing. And here's something fun. Set a timer on your phone. Or better yet, during commercial breaks, stand up and dance. Even badly, no one's watching, but your brain is benefiting. All right, moving on to the next one. This one is a slow killer. It doesn't feel harmful. In fact, it feels comforting, familiar, like a cozy blanket for your brain. But it's also one of the most damaging habits if you do it every single day. You follow the same routine without change. I get it. Routine is comforting. Same breakfast, same chair, same shows, same route to the store. You've earned a bit of consistency in your life. But when every day looks just like the one before, your brain stops working hard. It coasts. And a coasting brain is a shrinking brain. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you don't challenge it, stretch it, or surprise it, it starts to weaken, shrink, wither. Not overnight, but little by little, your ability to adapt, remember, and stay mentally flexible starts to fade. So how do you fix this? You don't have to flip your whole life upside down. Just change one small thing every day. Eat dinner in a different seat. Brush your teeth with your other hand. Take a new route to the grocery store. Call someone unexpected. Listen to music you've never heard before. The point is, break the pattern. Wake up your brain. These tiny changes force your mind to pay attention again. They create new neural pathways. They keep things fresh. And that freshness? It's what keeps your brain young. Now let's talk about the third habit. This one might surprise you, because it's not physical. It's emotional. But the effect it has on your brain? Devastating. You spend too much time alone, with no real conversation. Now, I'm not talking about enjoying your quiet time. That's important. I'm talking about isolation. Going days, sometimes weeks, without meaningful, stimulating, back and forth conversation. You see, your brain needs interaction like your body needs water. When you talk with someone, really talk, not just "how are you" and "fine." You're using memory, language, emotional control, humor, empathy, timing. Your brain is firing on all cylinders. But when you go too long without those conversations, the parts of your brain responsible for connection, memory, and mood start to dim, literally shrink. That's not just sad, it's dangerous. And the fix? Reach out. Every day? Doesn't have to be a deep heart-to-heart. Just a 5-minute call, a chat with a neighbor, a comment on a video like this. Anything that gets your brain into a human rhythm again. Even talking to yourself out loud helps. Really, it organizes your thoughts, keeps the mental gears turning. But ideally, connect with another human. Your brain will thank you. Okay, that's 3. And they're big ones. Sitting too much. Repeating the same routine. Going without real conversation. But there's one more. And this one, it's so common, it flies under the radar. It feels normal, but it's quietly robbing you of focus, clarity, and long-term brain health. Let's talk about that next. So here we are, the 4th habit. And let me tell you, this one is sneaky, because it feels so normal, so modern, so convenient. But it's quietly training your brain to be lazy, and worse, it's turning it into mush. Here it is. You consume information passively. You sit there, you scroll, you watch, you listen, but you don't engage. You don't question, you don't challenge. You just absorb, like a sponge. Endless news, endless headlines, background noise from TV, social media rants, YouTube videos auto-playing one after another. Now don't get me wrong, learning is amazing. Listening to a podcast, watching videos like this one, reading articles, reading books, those are good things. But the key difference? Passive consumption doesn't grow your brain. It dulls it. If you're not thinking about what you're watching, not pausing to reflect, not talking back to the screen, not turning over ideas in your mind, then your brain's just sitting in a recliner. And what happens when you leave anything sitting too long? It stiffens, weakens, shrinks. So here's what to do instead. Next time you watch a video like this, or read an article, or hear a news story, stop for just 1 minute and react. Ask yourself, do I agree with this? Does this make sense? What would I say if someone asked me about it? Make your brain respond, even if it's just in your head. Better yet, talk back. Say your thoughts out loud, or write them down. Share a comment. Tell someone about what you learned. Teaching, even in a casual conversation, is one of the most powerful ways to keep your brain sharp. Passive and equals brain off. Active and equals brain on. It's that simple. Now, let's step back and really think about this. None of these 4 habits seem dangerous at first glance. Sitting, routine, silence, passive information. In fact, they're all things we've been told are part of retirement. Take it easy. Enjoy the quiet. Relax. Don't stress. But here's the thing. Relaxation is great for your body, but your brain? Your brain craves challenge. It craves novelty, movement, curiosity, interaction, thought. That doesn't mean stress. It doesn't mean pressure. It means engagement. And if you keep feeding your brain the same safe, quiet, repetitive lifestyle every day, it begins to fade, shrink, shut down early. Not because it's broken, but because it thinks its job is done. So what can you do? You flip the switch. You interrupt the pattern. You stand up when you feel like sitting. You take the long way when you're tempted to stay on autopilot. You make the phone call when it feels easier to stay silent. You ask a question instead of just scrolling by. You move your mind. It doesn't take hours a day. It doesn't require an app or a fancy subscription or a brain training program. It takes awareness, a little curiosity, a willingness to live with your mind awake, not just your body present. Think of your brain like a garden. Every time you sit still too long, every time you repeat the same thoughts and routines, every time you stop engaging with the world, you're letting weeds grow. But every time you try something new, speak up, get curious, move a little, stretch a thought, you're planting something new. And over time, that garden grows. Stronger, smarter, more alive. And here's the best part. Your brain is not done yet. Not even close. Science has shown that the brain stays plastic, meaning it can grow, change, and strengthen well into your 80s and beyond. But only if you give it a reason. So give it a reason. Stand up. Shake things up. Say something. Challenge your thoughts. Let your brain know you're not done living. And neither is it. Now, if any of this hit home for you, if you've caught yourself doing one or more of these habits, don't worry. That just means you're paying attention. And that awareness? That's the beginning of change. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to be perfect. Just make one new choice. Today, right now, pick one thing you'll stop doing and one thing you'll start. And if this video gave you that little wake-up call your brain's been waiting for, go ahead, tap that like button, leave a comment, and share it with someone who might need it. Because chances are, they're doing the same 4 things too. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep the brain alive. Yours, mine, everyone's. We're not done. Not even close. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? You're nodding, aren't you? Yeah, you know that feeling. After a certain age, 70, 75, maybe even earlier, you start noticing something. Friends fade. Some move. Some change. Some pass away. And others, well, you outgrow them. And you're left sitting there wondering, is there something wrong with me? Am I becoming antisocial? Am I supposed to feel this okay being alone? The truth? No, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just starting to realize something powerful. You don't need friends to be whole. And you especially don't need the wrong kind of friends. You don't need people who drain your energy. You don't need to chase after connections that don't feel real. You've done your time. You've built your family. You've had the social circles, the small talk, the parties, the obligations. But now, this stage of life, it's different. This is your time. And believe it or not, leaning into your independence, not clinging to old friendships out of habit, might just be the key to your peace. Let's get real. People romanticize friendship, especially in old age. They make you think if you don't have a group of lifelong besties sitting on a porch somewhere, laughing over lemonade, you're somehow failing at aging. That's a lie. So in this video, I want to give it to you straight. 6 honest reasons why you don't need friends after 70 and how embracing your independence can actually make you happier, sharper, and more alive than ever. Let's get into it. Here's the first reason. You finally learned how to enjoy your own company. This one hits deep. Think back 30, 40 years. If you were alone at home for too long, it felt empty, quiet in a bad way, like you were missing something. You'd reach for the phone. You'd try to fill the space. But now, silence feels like a soft blanket. You can go days without a single social obligation and feel totally okay. Why? Because you've built a relationship with yourself. You know how to sit with your own thoughts, how to enjoy the little things, your tea, your walk, your favorite book, your music. That's not loneliness. That's growth. And here's the thing. The people who can sit quietly with themselves are often the strongest people in the room. They've stopped running from silence. They've stopped chasing noise. That's not weakness. That's mastery. The second reason, friendships start to feel one-sided. You've probably felt this. You reach out, you listen, you support. But when it's your turn, your struggles, your thoughts, your truth, it's like talking into a tunnel. They change the subject. They make it about themselves. Or they just don't show up at all. Why keep putting yourself in that cycle? At this stage in life, energy is everything. You don't need to waste it on people who don't pour back into you. If the friendship feels more like a chore than a joy, it's time to walk away. No drama, no guilt, just enough. And if you're thinking, but what if I end up alone? Let me say this, being alone isn't the enemy. Being drained by others is. That brings us to number 3. Your priorities have changed, and that's okay. You're not interested in gossip. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not going to events just to be seen. You've outgrown all that. You care about peace, clarity, meaning. You want real conversations, real values, real calm. So when you meet people who are still stuck in petty drama or shallow talk, it feels exhausting. And that's not snobbish. That's not antisocial. That's just evolution. You're moving at a different frequency now. And not everyone is meant to come with you. Think of it like this. Your soul's grown quieter, but deeper. You're not trying to collect people anymore. You're trying to protect your space. That's not loneliness. That's wisdom. Now, before we move on, take a breath. Sit with that idea for a moment. Not needing friends doesn't mean you can't have community. It doesn't mean you reject connection. It means you're choosing quality over quantity. It means you stopped mistaking noise for love. You don't have time for surface level anymore. You want depth or peace, nothing in between. And honestly, that's power. Here's the fourth reason why you don't need friends after 70. You're no longer afraid of missing out. Remember those days when you'd hear about a gathering or a party or a vacation and something inside you felt left out? Like you had to be part of everything or you'd fall behind socially, emotionally, even personally. That pressure fades with time. These days, when someone says, "Oh, you missed it," your answer is simple: good. Because you're not chasing moments anymore, you're choosing them. You've learned the art of intentional living. If you go somewhere, it's because you want to. If you stay home, it's because that's what feeds you. You're not watching from the sidelines with envy anymore. You're in the center of your own peace, and the noise around you feels optional. And guess what? That sense of peace, it makes people curious. They start to wonder what your secret is, why you seem so calm, why your eyes don't dart around the room needing approval. That's not just experience. That's emotional maturity. Let's talk about number 5. You've seen what real friendship looks like, and most people don't measure up. Now this one's honest, painfully honest. But let's say it out loud. You've been around long enough to see what true loyalty looks like. You've had the friends who showed up at midnight when everything was falling apart. You've had the laughs that made you cry, the hugs that healed you, the talks that changed your direction. But as time goes on, those friendships become rare. Some drift, some betray, some just stop trying. And now, you don't want to settle for kind of. If someone's not authentic, if they only come around when it benefits them, if they talk more than they listen, you simply bow out. It's not bitterness. It's discernment. You know what real love, support, and connection look like. You've tasted it. And if someone's offering anything less, you don't even bother with a second cup. Here's the final reason, and maybe the most powerful one. You've learned to love without attachment. This is a level most people never reach. But if you felt it, you know. You can care for people deeply and still let them go. You can wish someone well and still not call them back. You can look back on shared memories with warmth and still know they belong in the past. That kind of freedom only comes with age. You've stopped clinging to relationships just because they've lasted a long time. Longevity doesn't equal loyalty. History doesn't equal harmony. And when you realize that, you become unstoppable. You're not cold. You're not distant. You're just clear. Clear about who you are, what you need, what you'll accept. You no longer confuse company with connection. And being alone? It's not lonely. It's sacred. You walk slower, but see more. You talk less, but mean more. You have fewer people in your life, but the most important one has finally taken center stage: you. And let me say this loud and clear, if no one else tells you today, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to fill your calendar to prove you matter. You don't need to keep up appearances. You don't need permission to choose yourself. After 70, you don't need friends. You need peace. You need purpose. You need joy. And if someone adds to that, beautiful. But if not, you're still whole. So the next time someone makes you feel guilty for being too quiet, too private, too selective, just smile. They don't get it yet. But you do. You've earned your solitude. You've built your sanctuary. And now, you get to live in it.